Welcome back. We're talking with two young, up-and-coming tennis players. One who's going pro, one who's doing it for academics, but will stay in the tennis world in some form or the other. Dantry Mortimer Jr. and Michael Major Jr.
Yes,
the two juniors, eh? That sounds like a business right there, the two juniors. Right, now, we were talking about the drop in tennis in the country, but we do still have some younger players. How do we perform regionally, you think?
Oh, we performed pretty well regionally recently. Like the under-16s team actually won the region. They came first in under-16s for the Cotec region, and they went on to play the USA, Mexico, and Canada in the United States at the USA National Tennis Campus, and they actually did pretty well. They ended up beating Mexico, and they lost a tough one to the United States 2-1, and we lost 3-0 to Canada, but that actually showed that that group of guys are doing really well, and yeah, I mean, that's good for tennis here.
Great. As young as you are, do you get a chance to mentor young? You started at 3. How old were you when you started?
I was 2.
You're killing me, man.
Yeah.
Do you, at this stage, you get a chance to mentor younger people? I mean, even maybe 2. How do you, even if it's a smaller racket, how do you hold a racket properly?
I don't know, but in terms of mentoring other kids, I had a lot of time to actually do it. Actually, last month, I actually spent 2 weeks in Harbour Island coaching tennis to some of the kids down there.
Wow, that's cool.
Yes, so I do get a chance to mentor, and then there's a few guys who are younger who do message me from time to time asking for tips, and I definitely do enjoy giving it to them. And it's good that some of the young guys look up to us and ask us for a little bit more knowledge on the game and stuff like that. So yeah, I think that even though we're young, we're still able to mentor some of the younger guys.
Mm-hmm. Watching your game has to be an important part of your overall program as well, right?
Yeah.
What kind of things do you notice when you, well, just for television, I don't really like to see things after I've done it because I know what I've done wrong. But how important is it really for you to watch that game? And do you really get a lot of good feedback from it when you do it? You usually watch it with your coach, I guess, right?
Yes. So
and
I do.
Both of you after that.
With my coach, I do a lot of tennis, like analytics of how I play it. And you see a lot like the different problems that you may have with your stroke, like your technique, because tennis is a pretty technical sport. Mm-hmm. So you have to be pretty precise with the way that you hit, because any like little hitch could throw off the way that you hit the ball, because you know tennis is a game of like spin, speed, time you take away from your opponent, and you have to do a lot of that because I mean you have to have a pretty full game, because like there are a lot of different opponents that you may face, and you may have to do something different than I may have to do against DJ. I might have to do different against you to win. So
finding out their weaknesses.
Yeah.
So is that what you do? That if you know you're going up against somebody, you take a look at how they play it on video, and you look for those weaknesses. That's what you do.
Yes, sir. So I mean, we do a lot of scouting. Maybe sometimes you message guys who've also played the same guy and ask him for tips on, hey, like, how do I beat this guy? How did you beat him? What did you struggle with when you were playing him? What does he like? What doesn't he like? So stuff like that. So there's definitely some type of scouting that goes into when you're playing tennis. We don't just show up on the court, take our racket out, and aimlessly just hit the ball. So yeah.
How do you keep yourself interested in the game? All right, because, and I'm going to talk now because I used to be a competitor swimmer from when I was about 6. By the time I got to college, I was like tired of that, right? Just doing the laps and all these things. So how do you keep yourself interested in the game? Do you ever, I'm sure there are days when you wake up and say, look, I ain't into this today. How do you deal with that when that happens?
You want me to be honest with you?
Man.
I don't think I ever woke up and was like, I'm tired of this. I think I'd be tired like waking up, but I'm never like, I'm tired of.
So it's always that drive to go.
I
you can't wait to hit the courts.
I think that question is more for me. So for me, that is something I struggle.
And that's why he's going pro.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's the biggest difference. So for me, my interest kind of does sway a little bit when it comes to tennis. But what really keeps me interested is just seeing how far like other people have gone, how far I want to go, maybe some goals that I have, and how tennis can help me reach those goals. So even though I might want to be pro, I do want to go to school, get a degree, and tennis has helped me get there. So things like that, those would keep me interested. And I also don't want to go to school to just be another tennis player walking around campus. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to make sure that I'm at least good at it whilst I'm doing it, even though at some point I do want to stop and go a different way with life. But staying interested, in terms of what I do to just stay interested, I mean, I still love to compete. Maybe sometimes I may not want to train, but once I get out there and start competing, the feeling does wear off a little bit, and I do become fully interested in playing.
How much, because this has to be important, one should be honest again, right? Because you ain't going out there to lose.
No.
You want to win.
Yes, sir.
So that must be part of the drive as well.
That it definitely is.
I think that's a major factor for me. Like, I'm really competitive. I do not like to lose. And I think tennis is a sport of finding a way. And me personally, I don't like to lose at anything I do, like not even just tennis. So I think that nature that I have and the type of sport that tennis is, where you could find a way to dig yourself out of a hole and win the match, I think that's why it suits my personality so well. And I think that's why my drive is the way it is when it comes to the sport.
How many rackets have you broken after you lost?
None.
Don't ask
At least you don't do it in front of people, right?
No, I actually never broke a racket because my parents tell me I did not pay a dime on the racket, so I can't break the racket.
That's funny. I tell you. Now, let's talk about your, I don't want to say idols, but the people you admire in professional tennis, and even at local levels as well. Obviously Mark Knowles, and obviously your father,
yes.
right? But who, if you had a chance to play against someone today, even with your current skill level, who would it be?
For me,
you got a long list, or?
Yeah, but for me, I would say, this might be a generic answer, but I'd say Federer, honestly, Roger Federer, because I mean, he's like one of the classiest.
He's not on his way out, though?
He's already out.
He's already out.
That's what I thought, yeah, okay, yeah.
He's already retired.
Yeah.
You mean current players, like play right now?
Yeah.
Play right now, I'd say Djokovic, just because, I mean, he's not my favorite tennis player, but I have to accept the fact that he is the greatest of all time. And I think it would just
You would say that, of all time?
Djokovic, I think, is the greatest of all time.
Even better than McEnroe?
I'm
talking about way before you were born, people like McEnroe and Bjorn and all
the fact that he just won gold at the Olympics, there's actually nothing he hasn't done as yet, to be honest.
He's got a bad attitude, though, doesn't he?
At times, yeah.
We can make sure y'all don't have that.
No.
Well, for me, one player I would definitely play would probably be my dad, just to solidify myself as the best player in the family now.
You've never played your dad?
No, not seriously, but I'd want to play him seriously, just so you know that I'm better than him right now. But in terms of players, I'd want to play either Nick Kyrgios or Gael Monfils, because I feel like those are just guys I love to watch. I think it'll just be really fun to just share a court with them, and it'll definitely be exciting with the crowd, especially the way that I play. I'm definitely a crowd pleaser, so I just love to go out there and just play with one of those two guys.
Clay or grass, you got to be good at both, right?
Yeah.
And you got to excuse my ignorance. We have grass courts here? Because I've never...
I mean, we had one at Bahama, but I think they're resurfacing it. Maybe, I don't know if they're resurfacing it to another surface or if they're doing grass again, but we did have one. But we have clay, we have red clay at Atlantis now. We have green clay all around the island, and we also have hard courts. So.
Good.
I prefer clay for sure.
Yeah. What's the difference playing? I mean, obviously, but how does it affect how you play? Because is the strategy different?
Yeah,
because the ball will bounce differently.
Yeah, it definitely is. So for me, the type of player I am, I definitely prefer clay because I'm a counter puncher, which means like I'm basically just a bit more passive. So with the clay, when you're playing against aggressive players, you basically have more time now because the ball is slower. So I have more time to make balls, get to every ball, and just really move the ball around and use my skills to my advantage, basically.
Now, you're going to his
conference.
Yeah. When you played his school before.
Yes.
Who wins?
Us.
Oh.
But this year we're looking good. We're looking good.
You're getting ready to get beat or what?
No. My school, we did a lot of recruiting. There's 3 new freshmen coming in. So I think the coach said this is the most stacked team that she's had in terms of the roster. I think this team has more depth than the last few teams that she had. in terms of the guys with the skill level and all that. So I think I'm looking to go in there to make a big impact and change things around.
How large are your teams, the teams in your school?
I have 9 guys on my team.
I also have 9.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that the usual number for a tennis college
Team,
year?
yeah.
Sometimes it could get bigger. It could go up to like 12, 14. Some teams do have it. But
Is there a tennis season? I mean, like, for
Yes.
swimming, what's the tennis season?
Tennis season is from January to end of May.
Wow.
Or no, early May. Yeah.
Okay, so lots of traveling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably every
Travel.
weekend.
Every
right?
weekend.
every weekend.
But the thing is what it is about college tennis specifically is, although your team may have, let's say, 10 guys, only about 6 of those guys even play.
Yeah.
So it's very competitive when you're on a team because, so for singles, which is individual, you have a number 1 player, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6. And then for doubles, you have a number 1 team, number 2 team, and a number 3 team. And you play the corresponding team on the other school. And
I'm thinking about this movie with some black tennis players. I don't know if you remember it, but I
King
can't.
Richard.
Is it King Richard?
No, not with these Williams sisters. Some guys who were in a HBCU who they had all kinds of. It's based on a real story. Anyway, I can't remember it offhand, but it was very interesting. Now, as you prepare, because you're a junior.
No, I'm going into my sophomore year.
Oh, sophomore. Okay, great. So you got 3 years. Let's
Yes,
say.
sir.
So how do you strategize now for when you graduate? Because you're going to turn. Can you turn pro while you're in college, or are you going to?
You could, but the only thing about it is you could only accept up to $10,000 in a calendar year
While you're
in
in college.
But
Okay.
if I was to play a tournament, and let's say, like for example, a guy named Ben Shelton, who's now top 20 in the world, he was playing for the University of Florida, and he won a tournament and got a wild card into the U.S. Open. And he made a deep run into the tournament, and the prize money was around, I believe, $225,000. And he'd also be getting a lot of ranking points. So he made the decision with his dad, who was actually University of Florida's coach, to be like, okay, do I give up on college and go all the way pro? Because once you go pro, you can't go back and play. So, and he made the decision, and I mean, it paid off. But for some people, it doesn't pay off. For some, it does.
So how are you planning it? You're going to wait until you graduate before you really become a pro?
I
or-
mean, I'm going to definitely play pro tournaments while I'm in college to get the ranking, so it's not as tough when I graduate. But in terms of, well, honestly, it depends on how deep I go while I'm in college. And then that's when I weigh the risks and see which path I want to go on.
it sounds
But I definitely
interesting.
want to get my degree.
Oh, yeah. But I mean, you know,
But yeah,
your dad's looking, so we can't On the women's side now, you guys at Albany, Life for Key.
yeah.
You run into the Williams sisters because they're always here, aren't they? At least Serena is always here.
I've seen them before.
Seen
Yeah.
them, not met them yet.
No, not yet.
On the women's side, who do you admire? Who's game? I mean, the Williams sisters are at their end now, but who's hot for you right now?
For me, this is a biased opinion because I know her, but Taylor Townsend,
Okay.
she just won Wimbledon doubles, and
That's a good feather up in your cap.
yeah, she has a couple of Grand Slams for doubles, and she's a really good doubles player, and I really like her because because some people think your body type could hinder your performance, and she's like a little heavy set, but the way that she moves on the court is just so elegant. And there was a girl who actually is from here, and she was getting a lot of hate because of her body. And Taylor Townsend actually reached out to her.
I think I remember this.
Yes, Taylor Townsend actually reached out to her, and I honestly respect her because she didn't even know her, but she reached out because, and I honestly really respect that for her as a person, and as a player, I also respect the game.
Great. Yeah.
So for me, it'll be Coco Gauff, and me and MJ actually got the opportunity to share a court with Coco Gauff one time at Bahama. And it's just because of how young she is, the way she carries herself, how long she's been in the game, and the stuff she's accomplished at just such a young age. And especially as a black female athlete, it is tough. And I love the way that how she isn't afraid to express herself on the court at all.
There's another black player who had some success. I think he was at Wimbledon at one point.
Francis?
But he's
Tiafoe.
now like, what's his last name?
Francis
Tiafoe.
Tiafoe.
That's it, yeah. 'Cause
Yeah.
He's doing a lot of endorsements now, isn't he?
Yes, he
And
is.
so I wanted to, actually, his endorsements seem like they're doing more than what he's doing in tennis.
Yeah, he actually, I think he's supposed to visit Howard this year.
Okay.
Yeah, because Howard's right around the corner from, like a lot of the people on my team come from where he used to train at JTCC in Maryland. And yeah, so he knows, like some of my teammates actually know him personally. Some of my teammates actually used to play with Coco. So it's just like, yeah.
This is great, man.
Yeah.
Well, you don't. When do you go back to college? When do you go?
Friday.
Oh, well, so this will be this Friday coming?
This Friday
Okay,
coming.
well, you're going to have to watch this via the internet then, because this doesn't come on until next week, Monday, which would be the 19th, I think. The 19th, yeah.
I think so, yeah.
So do you know what your schedules are like yet for the tennis season?
We do,
But you said that won't start till January.
well, you have preseason training and you still have some
No
tournaments.
training, but
Yeah,
you have tournaments.
but we have tournaments. We have
Like you two won't meet up on the court until when?
maybe January.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe January. Because
But yeah,
there's some tournaments that my school plays that his school mightn't play, and vice versa.
yeah. But they have like invitationals where your team goes, and then your team also picks some of their top players to go and play the regionals, which is like the best schools, the schools in your area. So like University of Virginia, all of those teams that are like ranked #1 NCAA, you get to play against those guys and you get to represent your school itself. And my school will be at the US Open because we're like an instrumental part of the HBCU fun day that they have, and then we also help with the Arthur Ashe Kids Day. And then we also do like a exhibition on Stadium Court in front of the crowd. So that was pretty
Wow,
cool.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Now, we're getting close to the end of this show. I've asked you a lot of questions, but what haven't I asked you that you would want me to ask you? Or what do you want to say that hasn't been said yet?
I mean, I don't know. I feel like we covered a lot, but I would say that tennis is still, even though tennis could be expensive, it's still a sport that has many benefits. In terms of someone like me who just gets to go to school and just gets to get a further education and just see the world actually, because even though we have spent a lot of money just to play tennis, we've also seen the world. We went into many different countries. I got to travel with MJ a lot. So you get to see, and it's just also just a good experience, and you just get to see different cultures and stuff like that. So tennis definitely has its benefits, and I'd say it's definitely worth the money for anybody that wants to get into the sport.
I'd say so as well, honestly. Like, I think tennis almost like how some people say golf is a businessman sport. You get to build a lot of relationships with tennis. You get to meet a lot of different people. And I mean, you get to build a lot of lifelong friendships. Like, I've known DJ since I was 3 years old because of tennis.
Wow. So your friendship stemmed out
Began
of...
from tennis.
Yes.
Yeah. Began from tennis practice. And I think we just need, I think honestly, we may need a little bit more support from the country itself. Like,
Yeah, man.
yeah, like I think a lot of people like,
Don't worry, when you get to Wimbledon, well, actually, which would be your favorite tournament to win?
for me,
I mean, anyone, but I mean, if you had a choice.
if I had a choice, I would say it's between Wimbledon and US Open, honestly. Yeah, I'd say New York.
Which means you probably get the French Open first.
For me, it would be the French Open for sure. I love the clay. I just love sliding on the clay. And, like, there's the aesthetic of the overall courts at the French Open. It's for sure for me the French Open.
What is the biggest pro, and I'm talking out of complete ignorance now, pro tennis tournament in this, and I say the region, in the Caribbean, Latin America region? Is there one?
Dominican Republic, they have M25s, which is basically tournaments which award 25,000 prize money. So they host the biggest professional tournaments in the region. Yeah. And then next would probably be Jamaica, who has M15s, which is they basically award 15,000 cash money.
And then like Dominican Republic, actually this last week had what you call ATP Challenger, which is like one step away from because tennis it goes M15, M25, ATP Challenger, then you have ATP 250, ATP 500, ATP Masters 1000, and then Grand Slams, which is like the U.S. Open, Wimbledon, French Open, and
Now, obviously, I spoke about long distance running. Is swimming at all in your training program?
when I was training for Davis Cup, it was in the program, but also at
Pool or ocean?
pool. Also at school we do swimming every Wednesday.
Okay.
So it's
See,
definitely
that's the thing.
a
There's so many other things you have to do before you even play the game, eh?
yeah. For tennis, I'd say you have to be good at track and field.
Yeah, because you gotta.
And you also should be good at swimming for cardio.
Yeah.
Because you need
And the strength.
you run a lot in tennis.
So for us, like, there's many times where, like, we played 3-hour matches, 4-hour matches. So there's no time on it. So you just have to be ready just to go through it. You have to make sure you have the
3-hour matches?
3-hour matches.
Wow.
I played a 4-hour and 40-minute match before.
Yeah, so it does get long, and so it's just important that you just make sure that you eat the right stuff, make sure you hydrate, and just prepare overnight. I feel like the night before is the most crucial part, because based on the things that you do the night before, you could kind of tell how you would perform the next day.
I'm sure.
Because you have to hydrate or you will cramp.
Well, obviously, you guys are going to have many businesses together, your own sports agency, other than your own personal management companies. You know, and I just want you, before we leave, just to say something into the camera. There's something positive for young tennis players who might be at that point where they're like, I don't know if I could do with it much more, regardless of their level.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just something positive, and positive for you. You're two young men who are doing great things.
Yes,
sir.
Something good for young men and young people generally in the country.
My favorite quote is by my favorite rapper, J. Cole, where he says, "There's beauty in the struggle and ugliness in the success," which basically means to me that there is some beauty that comes out of struggling and being down. And in some success, there are things that are ugly because you never know how some people get the things that they have and stuff like that. So we should always just enjoy what we have and appreciate whatever we have in life, and just love and appreciate everything that has been given to us and that we've accomplished ourselves.
And I'd honestly just say to believe. I mean, just believe in yourself. Don't compare yourself to other people, because like DJ said, you don't know how they got to where they are now. And don't compare yourself to others. Like, don't look at me and be like, I don't know how he got there. Like, I don't know if I could reach that level, because I was at the same point where you were at one point, and it was just the drive and determination and the trust that you should have in yourself, and surround yourself with people who support you, and anything is surround yourself with people who trust you, and anything is possible.
Yeah, great. Well, listen, Michael Major Jr. and Entry Mortimer Jr., it's really been a pleasure to have you on the show.
Yes, sir.
And really, I wish you all, both, very great success.
Yes, sir.
You know, and just keep the faith, man. And thank you both for being here.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for having us.
Do well. And have a good academic year as well. And please let us know who wins the first game between you.
I will.
Yes,
I will.
I don't think he'll tell you if I win, though.
Don't worry, that ain't gonna happen.
Listen, we thank you for joining us on Read Between the Lines, and we'll see you next time.